Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another edition of Sunday Morning Transplant Coffee Talk. I am your host, Steve Belcher. Thank you for joining us this morning. Again, I would like to ask for prayers for my partner, Tamika Moore, as she remains on bed rest. And Tamika, if you're watching this show this morning, you are definitely in my thoughts and prayers. I miss you dearly, and I can't wait till you come back. Honestly, I really miss you because I got a lot on my plate, but I'm turning it over to God, and He's helping me go through this.
Mhm.
So before we start our show, I would like to read a PSA from Natasha Cooper with the SEIW. That's the Service Employees International Union out in Southern California. As many of you may have seen, I've been advocating for Proposition 8. I am a dialysis nurse, and I believe in California's Proposition 8. Um, Despite what you may see from the opposition, that patients will die if the measure is voted yes, that is by far means not the truth. Clinics could close down. I don't know, maybe the smaller ones, but no one's going to lose their life if you vote yes on Proposition 8. What I wanted to do is read an email from Natasha Cooper. If you work in dialysis or you're a dialysis patient and you want to share your story of what you may be going through by these corporate companies, regardless of what state you live in, this is a message for you. The organizers behind the Yes on 8 campaign in California are building a movement to raise standards in dialysis across the country. We're looking to connect with workers and patients who want to publicly share their stories and what they want to see change in their clinic industry. Um, I put up Natasha's number, and it's going to be broadcast across the screen. Wednesday, you seen Lily Lyles on here, a dialysis patient in Hollywood, California, who is a staunch advocate of Proposition 8. Why would a dialysis patient like Lily, who's intelligent, smart, why would she vote yes if she didn't think this bill was right? You see commercials with patients on the machine, the big giant companies using them as pawns, saying they're going to die to pull at your sympathy. Don't be bamboozled. Here is Natasha's number, and if you want to reach her, again, I'll put it on the screen and I will have it crawling through the screen, through the show. If you're an employee, and you know what we go through. I speak for myself. This is not the hour to do this, but if you need to share your story and if you're tired of working understaffed and underpaid and overworked, unite and contact Natasha. As far as that, I'm about to start the show all the way from Lebanon, PA. Without further ado, transplant warrior, Barb Lundberg. Hey, Barb, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining us in the morning. How's everything out in Lebanon?
Oh, it's quiet right now.
Quiet. What's the weather like? Is it cold up there?
No, it's sunny. It's a little chilly, but it's good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, Barb, let me just tell you and tell the audience how we got here today. We got here today because Jared Brown and Jeffrey Brown, I
Yes.
believe Jeffrey's wife, and I always get the two mixed up, but I believe Jeffrey, who's in UAB, United or is it UEAB? Um, if I'm wrong, I apologize. But his wife was on the transplant list and she got transplanted. And then after I saw that, I started seeing him advertise for other people for
Hmm.
donations. And he emailed me well, he messaged me one day and said that you would be a great story to hear and a motivator for people who are on, you know, dealing with kidney disease. So, how do your story start with kidney disease?
Well, in 2007, I had some kind of abdominal ultrasound scan, and the report noted that my one kidney was smaller and to have that looked into. So I went to see a nephrologist, and I also have bipolar. So the nephrologist, of course, stopped me on the lithium and started me on something else. And they started doing tests and all that. And I think my function was 17 then. And I've been followed by a nephrologist. Of course, we moved here 8 years ago. So I had a new guy, and he's pretty good.
Okay. Where did you move from?
Honeybrook, Chester County, Pennsylvania.
Okay. So, Barb, what stage are you in right now, kidney disease?
Well, I started at stage 5 because they didn't pick it up sooner. So I'm still in stage 5, of course. And my function seems to be dropping about a point a year. And again, it's really slow. I hesitate to even speak because seems so minor compared to so many people that are going through so much. But right now, my function is about 12. So if it goes down a point a year, I'm hoping I can go down really far, but we'll see.
When you say 12, do you mean 12%?
Yeah, 12%, the EGFR number.
Okay. Okay. So, what measures are you doing to keep your numbers from dropping?
Well, I've just started trying to observe the renal diet. There's certain things you should limit or do away with. I'm I'm just trying. It's hard because I like chocolate and cheese, and those things we should really limit.
Mm.
Um, I'm trying to follow what my doctor recommends. Sometimes I think he's a little too cautionary. Like he asked me to get a fistula, and I got one a year and a half ago, but fortunately I haven't had to use it. And I keep pressing him. I say, how many years would I have until I'd have to have dialysis or transplant? And at first he said 2, and I keep pressing him. And if I stay healthy, stay out of the hospital, now he's saying maybe 2 to 4 years. So I'm just trying to do what I can.
Mhm. Mhm. What what brought you to Facebook to advertise for kidney donation?
That's the primary reason I got on Facebook, to try to find a donor. It seems to be a good way to spread the word and get likes or shares, and it seems to be working because I think we're over 500 shares now, thanks to Jeffrey and Jared Brown. And we've had several people inquire and several people get tested.
Mhm. Mhm. Um, do you know how far that the testing process have gone with some of these?
Well, the one person who just out of the compassion of her heart wanted to donate, so she started the process, started the tests. Then they found out she has kidney disease. So in
Mm.
a way that was good for her to find out. And then the other person who right now seems to be the A number one just got the packet of information 2 weeks ago. So she's just started the testing. And my sister tried a couple years ago and she got pretty far. And then they found out she has some kind of heart problems. So I try not to get too excited anymore and just let it play out.
Mhm.
But
Mhm. Have you so far experienced any adverse symptoms of kidney disease?
I've been fortunate so far, but I am tired all the time. But like I keep telling my doctor, I'm still able to do pretty much what I want to do. I just have to limit my activities and really try to limit the stress. So, yeah, that's about what I do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you have to visit your doctor every month for checkups? And if you do, are you getting any shots like epigen shots if uh, if you're experiencing any type of anemia?
Oh, I've been anemic all my life, and of course this makes it even worse. He's kind of it's kind of gone in progression. Like he started me on iron pills, and then he added calcitriol, and and then the diet. But I'm stubborn sometimes, and when he said to get, well, the first doctor before we moved said he wants me to get on the transplant list. And I said, no, I feel good. Why would I do that? And then when we moved, the second doctor said that. And I finally said, well, okay. And then he wanted me to get a fistula. Of course, I said, well, what's that? And then I thought, I better listen to this guy. So I got the first fistula. It didn't work. And then I got the second one, and now it's a really, really strong pulse on my inner arm, and it's really fun to gross people out with it. And then he said, I want you to get a medical alert bracelet. And I said, well, I don't really wear bracelets. And finally I said, well, okay, if you want me to. So I have one when I remember to wear it. And then he started me on the renal diet. So I'm trying to, do what I can with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thankful because mine was caused by lithium. It resulted in the toxicity. Because of that, it's slow moving, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you think if, well, let me back up. When you was taking the lithium, were your levels being monitored on a monthly basis or often to see what levels they were because of the side effects of that medication?
Well, this was before I was married, and I couldn't hold many jobs, so I didn't have really good insurance. So I'd be changing around from different doctors and, of course, psychiatrists for the bipolar, and they weren't really diligent about it. I mean, I was drinking tons and tons and making tons of urine, and they didn't really pay attention. So it was when this one doctor did the scan that's when it first became identified.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Do you hold any animosity to uh, medical staff because of that?
No, no, it was the circumstances, and now I'm so much more blessed. I have great insurance because of my husband through the veteran program, and I have really great doctors. The only thing, well, a good thing that happened, I guess, a few years ago, I was first put on the transplant list in June of 2014. And then in November of 2015, I had a manic episode, which I hadn't had for years and years. And of course, well, when you're on the transplant list, I have to get blood work every month, which they send to Hershey to see if something came up, if it would be a match. So
Mm-hmm.
in November of 2015, when I went high and my judgment went out, I called Hershey. I said, "Well, I don't need to do this monthly blood work, so I want to get off the list." So they took me off the list. They didn't question it. I don't think they really knew what was happening. So then I became fine and stable, and then 6 months later, I was able to get back on the list. So I have about 3.5 years on it now. They say it takes about 5 to 8 till you get one from a deceased donor,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
it can take up to a year, I think, for the testing. to be complete by the donor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think things might be happening within a year or two.
Right, right. So Jared Brown, he made a comment. He says, your husband seems to be a great support for you. Can you please share with us what he does to lift you up?
Oh, he's wonderful. He's a helper. He'll dust and do all the housework. And of course, he's a school bus driver now, and because he gets disability because he was injured when he was in the service, so he gets a pension, and we're very stable financially. And he'll listen to me when I come home from the doctor, when I sometimes cry about all this, and he says, "Well, we'll get through it." And if we need the dialysis training, he's helped me already pick the room we'd have it in, and which would be this room, my office. And he just says we'll get through it. He's very positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not
That's
sure if
wonderful.
he really I'm not sure if he really understands what it will all entail. I'm not sure I do, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Right, absolutely. And hopefully you may not cross that bridge. You could get a transplant call tomorrow. Who knows?
Oh, that would be really wild. And that
Mm-hmm.
would change everything up. But yes, yes. I have
So,
a lot of people praying, and of course the Facebook is the blurb on there, and Jeffrey and Jared have been fantastic with just spreading the word, getting the shares, and we'll see where it goes.
hmm so Barb, what could you tell someone who may be watching this broadcast right now from anywhere in the world that may be suffering from depression or have some type of mental illness and that has kidney disease? What words of hope could you possibly give them? Because I commend you. um, you seem to overcome a lot, and to be here today to share your story and the support you have really means a lot. And I'm sure you can help someone else who may be in the same situation. What could you tell them?
Well, mine was caused by the lithium. I do favor mania over the depression, but you gotta be willing to get help and talk to your doctors. It takes a while to get the right combination of medicine that helps you, so you have to be patient with that. It can be a hard journey, but you also have to have hope, a support system. For a while, it was kind of like coming out of the closet. For a while, we didn't really want to tell people about the bipolar, but then we were encouraged to start a bipolar support group, which we did, and that was really good. Now we have that ongoing. And, things that life throws at you, you just have to deal with. Some people have it so much worse, and some people don't have any problems.
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that. Absolutely.
Um,
So, what type of support have you gotten from Facebook?
Well, I had an opportunity to ask some of the questions that I have, and there's a lot of people who have gone before me who are dealing with this or dealing with a second or even a third transplant, and they're a wealth of information. Plus, they're very supportive. So that's been good to have. It's a kidney online support group, and that's
Hmm
been really helpful. I have a place to go to when I need information. But sometimes it's kind of scary too because I see some of their stories and the struggles they're going through, and it's like, wow, I don't want to go through that. How do they do it?
hmm
It's amazing what
what
people
was
can
one
do.
of the worst stories that you heard, if you can remember?
Well, little children, little babies need a transplant, and that's really sad to see pictures of them with all the tubes. And then a few people looking for donors are not medically able to get one.
Hmm
And so they're stuck on dialysis for the rest of their lives. And then some people have gotten donors, gotten right up to the process where they're almost ready to schedule surgery, and the donor backed out for whatever reason. And then some of them are on their second transplant, and then it rejects. And I think there's always the fear that, this could go bad, and then I'll be back to either dialysis or looking for a donor. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of, you know, unknowns about this that can sometimes be a little worrisome.
Right, right. Barb, Wendy Woods, she says good morning. She wants to know what is your blood type.
My blood type is A plus, so I could receive from A or O, but Hershey Med recognizes paired exchange, so pretty much any blood type it could be used.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, can you explain to us how that worked with the pair exchange for people who may be thinking about getting a transplant but don't know the process or haven't even started the process yet?
Well, first they have to be willing to even try, and then they call my hospital's number, which would be Penn State Hershey, and they answer a few questions, and if they pass that, then they send them out a packet of information to confirm their blood type, and then they send scripts for a bunch of tests that they have to do. So that's part of the process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so with the pair exchange, what
Oh
exactly
yeah.
happens if say if someone got into that program and they didn't match you but match someone else, how does that work for people?
Well, if they can't donate to me, but they can donate to someone else, and someone else has a donor that doesn't work for them, and that donor matches me, then they can donate to me. It's kind of a swap. And there's another one, if somebody just on their own decides to donate and doesn't designate a recipient, then they can donate to someone, and then that person's donor who wouldn't match can donate to someone else, and it starts kind of a chain, and it could really save a lot of people's lives. It's an amazing thing, but you need that first person who altruistic donor just decides, I want to give, help save somebody's life, do something good.
Mm-hmm. So let's just say if you found a donor but didn't match you and matched someone else, and you was in that program, where would that put you on the list?
I don't know. I think it takes a while to coordinate all of that, and then
Mm-hmm.
the hospitals, the doctors, the blood work and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about that yet because, like I said, I'm not that far along in the process. Um, I, I basically just started learning about all this journey, and so there's a lot of things I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So if anyone knows, I'd like to hear that because I did hear someone mention to me that they had a family member that couldn't donate to them, and they were thinking about going into the pair exchange program. And my question was, if they found someone that their relative could donate, would that person who was originally supposed to get the organ, now they can't get it and someone else got it, did that put them at the top of the list for the next available organ that may come through that matches them?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. It all starts with that one person who wants to donate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let me see. We got a comment here from Elizabeth. Let me read it. Oh, no, that wasn't a comment. She was just making eyes watching the show. Thanks for watching. Um, so I see you met several people on Facebook that you kind of gotten, close to far as, as Facebook friends. June Kaufman out of North Carolina.
Yeah, there's a handful of people that share their story, and I follow them. I ask them questions, and then we sometimes go back and forth, and it's really helpful. There's one person who basically she's bedridden with this, and she and I message back and forth, and it's hard for her because apparently she's deaf, and it's hard to do the texting. So I think next time we might exchange phone numbers. It would be easier that way. So yeah, there's a number of people that are it's weird to have Facebook friends, not really know them in person, but it's really it's really helpful. Sometimes they're a lot more understanding than my own friends because they don't have this, don't know what it's like to go through.
hmm Barb, Sarah Rominger, which please reach out to
Mhm.
me. I'm not sure if she if her page is hacked because I tapped on her name and it went to her page, but nothing appeared. So please send me a friend request. But Barb, Sarah asks, well, she says that she's so proud of you for speaking up and searching to save your life. How important is Sarah to you? How did you meet her?
Well, again, through Facebook, it turns out she and I have the same birthday. And she posted something like she was supposed to get her kidney on her birthday. And then it turned out she didn't get it till the next day. But I just thought that was amazing. And she seemed like a really nice person. And so we went back and forth. Now she had her transplant, oh, I'd say about 6 weeks ago. So I kind of followed her process and, the ups and downs of it and the incisions healing, and there's an awful lot to it. Having to wear a mask, not really being able to go out in public, and there's a lot to it that I'm just kind of learning from her. Because, like I said, a lot of people have gone before me on this journey, and there's probably some behind me. But she's one I really follow. I pray for her, and she seems to be doing really well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I noticed another gentleman that you had mentioned, the two brothers, Jared and Jeffrey. How did you meet them?
I don't really know. It was on Facebook, but they are so kind because they make pages for, I don't know, 5 or 6 people now, and they post on them daily. So they keep encouraging shares, and then the more shares you get, then the more people share your story, and eventually there's some donor out there. But they've just been amazing in what they do for, no cost, just because they want to, and because Jeffrey's wife had the transplant and she was able to get one through all this Facebook sharing, I think within a few months. So they're kidney advocates, and there's a lot of kidney advocates out there that just have excuse me, have a passion for all this.
Mm-hmm. Right. Jeffrey, I see you watching. Thanks for watching. You got to get Alma to do an interview, her and Jeffrey. So
Yes.
please, talk to him or you come on and share the story, Jared.
Mm.
Wow. So tell us, Barb, have you seen any stories on Facebook that someone received a transplant due to finding someone on Facebook?
Um, there have been some. I I don't I don't really know where their donor came from. A lot of times it's from a deceased donor, and I see comments that they're so grateful for that person, and some of them are able to meet the donor and their family in person after a while. So I see these
Mm-hmm.
stories, and they're really encouraging, and I kind of put myself in their place, like, wow, won't that be wonderful when I get a kidney and can meet the donor's family if it's from a deceased one. And it's really strange. It's almost like it's almost excuse me, it's almost like, well, it is, somebody has to die to give someone else life. So it's a sad thing when they die, but it blesses a lot of people too.
Mm-hmm. Um, due to the unfortunate circumstance of the way you got kidney disease. Are you are you glad that it happened in this day and age other than 15 or 20 years ago?
Oh my goodness, yes. I'm thankful that lithium came out as I think the preferred treatment for bipolar back in the early 50s. So I'm thankful for that, and also that the dialysis mechanisms were perfected just I don't know 20 some years ago. So there's a lot of technology that has gone forward that can really help you stay alive and live your life.
Hmm. But not only that as well, but just the fact of the technology that you're able to come on a platform like Facebook or today
Mhm.
on Sunday Morning Transplant Coffee Talk and possibly share with millions of people or even thousands of people your story and possibly get someone or find a match opposed to 10 or 15 years ago, this platform wasn't possible.
Yes. And I am thankful for that too with Facebook. I mean, you can pretty much go all around the world, just not leaving your house because there's so much out there. It's just not the kidney group. There's just you can ask a question of your phone and it has the answer. It's pretty amazing, really.
Hmm. Hmm. So, Barb, have you had an opportunity to go to a kidney dialysis clinic just to see what life may be like if you make it to that point?
Well, every time I go see this one doctor, there's a dialysis clinic right next door. And of course, I think about it a lot. I have gone in to meet a dialysis technician for the first time to get an idea of what's involved. My doctor talked with me about the different ways to do dialysis, going to the center for 3, 4 hours a day, 3 times a week, possibly doing it at home with having the machines there, which is what I've decided we'd like to try to do. But my doctor wants me, if it gets to that point, to do that 6 days a week for 2.5 hours a day. And I'm trying to think, wow, first of all, how can I sit still that long and how boring it would be? And what can you do when you're trapped in your chair with your arm in a certain position?
Hmm.
But that's there. And then there's also one called peritoneal where you basically use your body as a filter to get the toxins out. But you have this like tube sticking out of your tummy and you can't really swim with it. It gives you a lot of freedom, but my exercise is basically swimming and walking. So you have all these choices of how to do it, but none of them are really ideal.
Right, right. And that's rightfully understandable. Absolutely. Um, have you, how often do you go to the nephrologist now?
Well, I was going every 3 months, and then I do kind of push them, and I think I've been pretty healthy. And because my function's going down slowly, now I can go 4 months. So he works with me. I try to listen to him and do what he says, and try to just live life and not be too concerned about this. Try to maybe in conversation with somebody just happen to mention I'm on the transplant list and see if they're interested. But I'm amazed at people's, they don't know that you can donate parts of your body. They don't know about the process. They don't know that most people have two kidneys and they can easily donate one and be fine, live their life fine. So there's a lot of ignorance out there about it. So maybe I can help be an advocate that way. Plus, we've had what we're trying to do, my husband and I, we had a yard sale sign made up. It has the number to call and also my cell phone. We have bumper stickers on our cars. I have some little business cards to give out. And also we had shirts made that say my wife needs a kidney, I need a kidney, with the
Great.
phone number. So we're trying to be advocates and get out there, and I know there's a donor out there that will find me in the right time. So
Hmm.
just waiting.
So, Barb, Elizabeth, she says she was told you can swim when you are doing peritoneal dialysis. You can't, however, take baths because you can't sit in standing water. So,
I
were
believe,
you
yeah.
told that you couldn't swim?
What's that?
Were you told by the doctor that you couldn't swim if you did PD?
I I told them I like to swim, so we discussed it, and it seemed like PD wasn't an option. I think PD people can take showers as long as they cover it up really good, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping not to go that route.
Right, right. So, Barb, did your doctor, did he tell you when may be the time that you may have to start hemo, or did he leave that up to you to say, basically, depending on how you feel?
Well, when I go see him, I have a whole list of questions, and he and I basically work together, and I keep saying, "Well, how will I feel when I know I have to do something?" And he doesn't really answer. He wants me to get a preemptive transplant. He wants me to get a transplant before everything goes completely south because your longevity's better, your quality of life is better. So that's what I'm trying to do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. Do
And there's also something coming out, an artificial kidney machine that they haven't perfected yet, and it'll probably be a number of years till it's approved. But that's hopeful to have a machine do what your kidneys should with filtering all the toxins out. So we
mm,
have something to look forward to, but I'm not sure if it would be in our lifetime.
right. Well, Bob, that's interesting that you brought that up. I'm not going to get off track, but let me just say this about the artificial kidney. And I see a lot of people um, talk about it in the groups that they can't wait in the testing and they would
Yeah.
participate in the testing and all that. Again, it goes back to this Proposition 8. The two main dialysis facilities will lobby against something like that ever come into fruition. And that's just my opinion. And reason why, because if you had an artificial kidney and it's going to help take people off dialysis, then that's their business that you're taking away from. You're taking billion
Yeah.
dollars away from these big companies because you perfected uh, a science to transplanting the people to function as a kidney. So it's either, if that happens, I believe the only people that would be able to afford that would be people of wealth. And then if you do get an item like that, you're going to have to take blood thinners because anything that goes in your body, any type of machinery like a stent, um, well, I ain't gonna say anything because I have pins in some of my feet and I don't take blood thinners. But when you have like stents and windows in your heart and certain items like that machine, you're gonna have to take some type of blood thinner to keep your blood from coagulating or clotting on that device. So I mean, I
Yeah.
hope it comes to fruition to save people, and I just hope if that does come to be, that they don't just have it for the wealthy. have it for everyone
Mhm.
and let everyone be able to afford a device like that.
It
So,
seems to be so driven by money. It's really
mhm,
sad they don't do what they can to help people. It's all, who gets to benefit this financially.
mhm, mhm. So, Barb, you had mentioned, and I hear this from so many people, Barb, and I really tip my hat off to you because you went and you got on the list before the possibility of initiating dialysis. And for so many people, they don't know that they have that opportunity or they're not afforded that opportunity to do that, let alone you're at 12% stage 5 and you're not on dialysis. I know
Hmm.
people who are at stage 3 and 4 who physicians steered them into getting an access and started dialysis way before stage 5. I mean, when you hear stories like that, what do you think about?
Well, I think that's amazing. That gives me hope to go down really low and have many more years. Um, I don't know. It seems like a lot of people have kidney disease and don't know it. And when you get it identified and have to do something, you can get a chest port put in, which is not the best because it's close to your heart and can lead to a lot of problems. Or you can get a fistula put in where they attach the vein in the artery, but that takes several months to mature, so you could use it. So some people have an immediate need to do something, and they have to do what they can, but it's often not the best choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So you mentioned that you had two accesses. The first one failed. Did they not do? I mean, I'm sure when you go, they do vein mapping to see what would be the best arm, and they try to use your non-dominant arm to put the access in.
Hmm.
Why is it that you think the first one failed and the second one is working really great now?
I don't know. I guess it just happens. The first one was near my wrist on my left arm, and it he did everything right, I believe. It just didn't take. There wasn't any extra pulse through it. So a couple months later, I had to get the one in that seems to be working really well. And then my
Mm-hmm.
doctor, of course, wants me to protect it because if you are ever in an accident or something happened, you don't want to have that damage. So that's why he wants me to wear the ID bracelet.
Mm-hmm. So, Barb, let me just say this, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know you far as other than Facebook. I don't know your
Mm.
medical history or anything like that. But let me just say, from a nurse perspective, if I like came to the dialysis unit and I met you, and let's just say for the sake of this conversation, you were on the machine and I met you and you told me that story, or anyone, because I met many people who told me the same story that you did about your access. The first thing that would come to me would be, why didn't this surgeon know? Okay, why would the surgeon put it so close to the wrist? Because where the wrist is, that's where normally when they put fistulas in, that what they call anastomosis, where the juncture is. But why, if you're a surgeon, normally they do vein mapping to
Hmm.
know exactly where to go to know that this will work there. So my thing would be trying to look at this logically, because I don't know, but my point would be, why wouldn't they put it where they put it the second time, the first time?
Mhm.
There's a lot of
Well,
patients that, let me just finish this. There are a lot of patients I know, Barb, that have multiple accesses. I'm talking
mhm.
about one at the lower arm, one at the upper arm, on the left arm, you go to right arm, the same thing, the legs. And my whole point is, why did it take 4 to 5 different access to find one when all this should have been talked about in the beginning? And my only thing I could come up with is money. That's the only. I mean, some people, granted, for the sake of argument, some people do have problems with their veins. But if you already know this, then it should be a plan set in place before you even operate on the person, so you don't have these complications. Would you agree?
Yeah, he did vein mapping, and I guess I don't know really why he put it there. The doctor's no longer there, so and he was supposed to be a good one. So I don't know. And then after having it for a year and a half, my renal doctor referred me to another doctor who's going to do an ultrasound on it, I guess to get a base reading, because sometimes these clot, sometimes they just don't work. But I don't know. I sometimes have to trust the doctor, and I don't always know that they know what they're doing. Like you
No,
said, it's motivated by money a lot of times.
I mean, and Barb, trust me, it's thousands of individuals watching this right now that
Hmm.
understand what you're talking about. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Because, like I just said, I know multiple people right now who has multiple accesses, just because of that situation. And I
Yeah.
encourage the patients that I do see to ask questions with the physicians, because they don't always know. That's why they have second opinions and third opinions, because that's what they are, opinions. So if your
Yeah.
doctor may say something that you don't feel comfortable with, then you have that right to see another physician and to raise those same questions. There's many people who've done that and it got better results. I know people who tried to get a transplant workup at one hospital that were turned away. They went to another hospital and they got on the list just like that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, yeah, Jared. I mean, because Jared says that my insight is greatly appreciated. And I believe that he's speaking about when I'm talking about with these accesses, because what they done now, they have access centers. And so what these access, see, back in the day, about 15, 20 years ago, if you was at dialysis and you came in, if your access clotted or clotted at home, you would have to go to the emergency room and then
Hmm.
go to your surgeon, and they had to make an appointment, admit you in a hospital, and schedule you for surgery to declot it. And and then, but before they declot you, they'll put a catheter in you, a temporary catheter, so they can still do the dialysis. So what transpired, with the emergence of the surgical centers, they had an access center, and basically these access centers have interventional radiologists. They're doctors. Some of them are not surgeons, and some of them are surgeons, but they're interventional radiologists. And what they do, you go to these ACT centers and they declot you by, doing a fistulogram. They could do something with your catheter, manipulate it if it's not working. I mean, so that definitely saves you from going to the hospital and be admitted. However, that right there is another, quote, quote, money scheme in itself, because you
Hmm.
have all these access centers coming up, and you have different access centers, pretty much buying for it. um, what's the word I want to use? Um, going after the patients, trying to get them to come to their access center if something goes wrong. They reach out to the clinics, put their forms there, want you to send the patients there. If they clot, they offer the patients a cab ride to and from, give them lunch after the procedure, stuff like that. So it's, when I think about this whole industry and how patients are at the center of this, okay, it just sickens me because yes, we are a free world. It's a capitalistic society, and that Barb, there's a way to make money and at the same time have quality patient care without
Yeah.
someone suffering. You know, I just saw on the video how insulin used to cost $40 a vial. Now it's up to $100 something. Insulin has been
Mhm.
around such a long time. All these medicines that's needed, that's been around a long time, are now high to get. But when you get TVs, cell phones, they start out high and then they go low.
Yeah.
But that's not the situation of the medicine. They're steadily going up and up and up, and people are dying.
Yeah. People can't afford this a lot. It's a sad choice they have whether to go out early or to keep trying to do what they can. And a lot of people I see on the online group, they've just had it and they've given up. And if you give up and you don't do anything, I think within a week or so you go, and it's not a pleasant way.
Well, each person is different. I can't say that from a healthcare perspective because I've seen people who miss a month of dialysis. I've seen people who miss 2 months. They still urinated and they just had to deal with life's measures. And you see them maybe once a month, every other day, or whatever the case may be. But I've seen people who went without dialysis for 3 months, and I've seen people who couldn't go, like you said, for out a week. And I think those particular patients who, like you say, who may pass away within a week or so, maybe that's your clock, huh?
Yeah, yeah,
Those people may have other medical issues that may contribute it to their death, and it may not have been renal failure or kidney disease that caused it, but it could have been something else in conjunction with the renal failure.
hmm
Like the heart failure. Somebody has a bad heart and they go to dialysis. Now, of course, if they don't go to treatment, if they drinking and they don't go to treatment to get that fluid off, then yes, because your heart is not pumping as it was, so it's not going to expand that fluid out and get it throughout your body, and so you can pretty much
yeah,
when the pulmonary edema.
yeah. And
Uh,
that's another thing on well, right now my doctor wants me to drink lots and lots of water, so that's basically all I drink. But on dialysis, as I understand it, you have to really limit your fluids, and you basically can only drink the equivalent of 2 glasses of water a day. Oh, come here, come here. This is my husband, my main support.
hey,
Hello.
Bill. Hey, Bill.
Good.
Hey, thank you.
Good.
Thank you for everything you do for Barb.
That's right.
Jared Brown, he had made a comment, said you're an amazing guy, and that he wanted to know, what do your big help in supporting Barb throughout this, process.
I try. I try.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
rock,
Well,
man.
hats off to you. Thanks for,
You
stopping
guys
in.
all rock.
All right. Well,
He
Barb,
has to, yeah.
getting down to the final close of the show, but Barb, I mean, truly, you have an amazing story. And reason why I say it's amazing, you may not think that it is, but you do on several folds because you're dealing with this, with your depression and what you deal with that, and then on top of that, you got on the transplant list. You took initiative to take control before dialysis even happened. You're doing everything that you need to do to stay healthy. So my hats are really off to you. What would you say to someone now that, again, that just found out that they're in stage 3 or 4 and their GFR or glomerular filtration rate is at 12 or 15. What hopes or encouragement could you say to them to keep them going?
Well, to get a good nephrologist, to ask a ton of questions, to get on the online kidney support group and see people who've gone before you, what their journey's like, to get a lot of prayer support, to be faithful with what their doctors say. You do what you can, but mostly I think you have to take the fear factor out of it, find out what might be involved, and you just got to deal with it. Life throws us a lot of curves, and there's always somebody has it worse.
You absolutely right about that, Barb. Is there anybody you'd like to send a shout out to or say hello to or thank while you're here?
For sure, God. He's got me here. He's going to get me through. You and your programs, your advocacy, the Brown twins, they've been amazing. Of course, my husband and I have a lot of friends through church who pray. So I feel like I have good support.
Great, great. That's wonderful. All right, Bob. Well, again, thank you for coming on and sharing your story. It was great spending this hour with you. I really, learned a lot, and I just encourage you to advocate, keep advocating, even with the mental illness that as well, because there's many people with kidney disease that suffer with depression, and that was one topic we talked about, and a lot of people, don't talk about that, and I applaud you for being candid and sharing that information because it could be someone else out here right now watching this that be going through the same exact thing and maybe not keep, like you said, keeping it in the dark and not letting people know and could be suffering by themselves when they don't have to suffer by themselves.
Yeah.
We
I
have
do
to. Go ahead, Barb.
I do say if somebody's on lithium, it was a good drug for many years, but I was on it for 38 years and didn't have my renal functions checked. So I don't want to bash lithium. There's a lot of great psych drugs out there, but you got to keep an eye on your labs.
Absolutely. I agree. I agree. All right, Bob. Well, again, thank you for tuning in. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming by and talking with us. I'll definitely see you soon on Facebook, and can't wait to have your friend June Kaufman on in January.
And Sarah.
Oh yeah, Sarah. She got to reach out to me and send me a friend request because
Okay.
like I said, I tried to reach out to her, but I didn't hear anything. So I'm sure she'll be in touch. I would love to hear her story as well.
Yeah. Well, thank you for what you do, and let's all just keep on keeping on.
All right, Bob. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you very
All right.
much.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So again, we would like to thank Barb Lundberg from Lebanon, PA, for joining us this morning. But what I'd like to say before I close the show out, as you see, I have Natasha Cooper's phone number. She's a representative with the SEIU union in California. And again, I encourage you to vote yes to Proposition 8. This will make units more safe, and we'll work on the side of the technician as well. I just wanted to read right quick to you a portion of this article that was sent to me. I thought it was very, it's just crazy. And let me just pull this up. It's a interactive map of Social Cal, and basically, Social Cal, Southern Cal Connected's interactive map uncovers the machinery behind the dialysis industry's $4 billion in annual profit. See how millions of dollars in patient revenue is generated at each clinic. And so this story, let me just tell you how it starts out. And here it goes right here. I'm on my phone reading it. It says, dialysis centers on every corner in Southern California. In every corner. The business of kidney dialysis is booming. And this is how this article starts out. Chronic kidney disease is at epidemic levels worldwide. And as Americans live longer and get heavier, the number of patients with kidney failure requiring dialysis is growing at 5% a year. That's a lot of people, okay? That's all help make dialysis a multi-million-dollar business. In California, dialysis companies are making revenue of roughly $3 billion annually, according to the California Legislative Analyst Office. That money is the target of Proposition 8. Now, this is what we was talking about concerning Proposition 8. That money is the target of Proposition 8, a union-backed, and that's who Natasha's with, a union-backed effort to cap profits. This is what they want to do. They just want to cap profits at the state dialysis clinics. In this campaign to defeat it, the industry, meaning DaVita and Fresenius, is spending more than $110 million in their war chest, the most any one side has spent on an initiative anywhere in the U.S. since 2002. And the Associated Press reported this. Okay? Now, hear this out. The lion's share of those contributions are coming from DaVita Inc. and Fresenius Medical Care, the two companies that control roughly 70%, not 20%, 70% of the industry is owned by DaVita and Fresenius. What does that tell you? Okay, so if anybody lose out, it's going to be the 30%, not the 70% DaVita and Fresenius. They're not going to lose nothing but a little bit of profit. Okay, and so that's 70% of the dialysis market in the state and nationwide. About 10% of DaVita clinics nationwide are in California. Germany-based Fresenius also makes dialysis machines, which I was saying in the other broadcast. That's why I say this is a moneymaker. Fresenius makes the machines, DaVita buys it from them. And so they make some machines which filter the blood through an external circuit and then pumps the clean blood back into the body. The machines essentially perform the function of kidneys. And then they go on to say patients with end-stage kidney disease typically undergo 3 dialysis treatments a week. Epidemic levels of diabetes have created a steady stream of patients at dialysis machines. Diabetes is a leading cause of kidney disease. Half of Californians, listen to this, half of Californians are diabetic or pre-diabetic. So why would you think that these companies would want to say no to Proposition 8 if they know that half of Californians are pre-diabetic or diabetic? Come on, you can read right through this. Don't go, like I said this morning, don't be bamboozled or don't go through the smokes and mirrors when they have patients on TV hooked up to a dialysis machine advertising saying vote no because if you do, I can lose my dialysis clinic or I can die. That's just that's just a scare tactic to get you to vote in this. Okay. But this is what Urban Kidney Alliance has been preaching since day one, since 214, when I realized and discovered and woke up from this 33 years of haze that this disease affects more blacks and minorities than it does any race. However, it affects everyone from different levels. But when you talk about diabetes and hypertension that could have been prevented, then that's where these guys are the snake in the grass. No, this is not like Barb Lundberg's story with lithium and other medicines that harm the kidneys, because even with that, there should be education about medication that can harm people kidneys, okay? But when you have chronic diseases like high blood pressure and diabetes that are preventable, and you have patients on these medications for these diseases for 7 and 10 years, you know what the outcome is going to be. So just listen to this. Costly dialysis used to be only available for the rich, and it did, or for people whose lives were considered worth saving. In 1960s, at least one hospital committee, check this out, nicknamed a God panel. 1960, a committee called the God panel will determine if your life is worth living or not. I mean, come on. This panel, called the God panel, would decide which patients would receive dialysis, essentially handing out a death sentence to those that don't qualify. Now, you're going to tell me from 1960 until now, where we have in California a dialysis clinic on every corner. People can get it, but yet you have these corporate companies that's charging astronomical prices or steering you away from Medicare, which was enacted by Richard Nixon. They steering you away from something that was meant to give for you to go to a private insurance company in Obamacare so they can charge that private insurance company 2 to 4 or 5 times more than what they're getting from Medicare. This is what Proposition 8 is all about, and people don't understand it. You have people who work for these companies, who work for the Vita and for Fresenius, saying vote no. I work for the Vita. I say vote yes. Okay, I'm not no rookie in dialysis. I've been doing this 33 years, and I know the shenanigans. I know the shenanigans firsthand. I'm dealing with them firsthand as an employee. I'm dealing with the shenanigans. So again, don't let this stunt that they're pulling out California saying people are going to die, clinics are going to close if you vote yes to Proposition 8, because that's not even the case. Okay. And again, it costs on an average, it costs $89,000 per patient to get dialysis. And if you don't know, dialysis now accounts for 34 billion of Medicare's cost. 34 billion. That's what we've been spreading advocacy with Urban Kidney Alliance. We've been saying this all along. We may not have been articulating it like they're articulating it in this article, but that's what we've been saying all along with the proliferations of kidney treatment centers. You see me doing a part of the tour, stopping at different units, taking a picture of myself, showing you how this problem has just tripled. Okay, it's just tripled. So listen to this, and then I want to close it. With the passage of the Affordable Care Act, ACA, inadvertently opened up another revenue stream for the dialysis industry. When the ACA went into effect in 2014, and that's when I started seeing people walking in the big clinics of DaVita, Fresenius, insurance reps. They came up with a name for these insurance people to go in and talk to patients to see who would possibly be qualified or eligible to go to Affordable Care Act. So what they did when that went into effect in 2014, insurance companies could no longer, check this out, they could no longer deny coverage to people with pre-existing conditions. What is end-stage renal disease? A pre-existing condition. Okay, these guys are smart. Okay, Kent Theory, those guys are smart up there, making millions of dollars, hiring high-powered lawyers to dig in these books, to look at this stuff. So what they did, okay, they can no longer deny you with a pre-existing condition, including kidney disease. Insurers and lawmakers have accused the industries of steering patients. Okay, this is insurance companies, Aetna and United Healthcare. Okay, this is like no patients. This is reputable people and companies and lawmakers saying or accuse the industry of steering patients from Medicare and Medicaid to private insurance to boost their company's profits. So why do you think they spent more than 110 million on propositions saying no to 8? Okay, because they want to keep this machine going. Okay, each dialysis patient on private insurance can now bring in, check this out, from Medicaid to Obamacare, they could bring in 100,000 or even 200,000 a year in insurance reimbursement, opposed to the $260 per treatment that they were getting from Medicare. And maybe per year, that's probably 40 to 89,000. But think about that, 40 to 89,000 opposed to 100 to $200,000 a year. So the bottom line, and I'm just going to be honest, they're looking at people on dialysis as cash cows. I mean, you can go to the site and they can have all the stuff on their website about the quality care, the 5-star unit, this and that, and give you menus online. But the bottom line is, when you go into clinics like the one I worked at in the past, where they came in and did renovations and stripped the floor, had concrete slabs, patients walking in concrete slabs and dust when you come in the morning, dust and everything on the chairs and on the TV handles and on the medication compartments where we used to keep our syringes and stuff, and dust in the air and mold in the back in the water treatment center. That's the reality. Not all clinics go through that or have that, but I can tell you from experience that I witnessed it in clinics in California, had bed bugs, roaches, gnats. It's a mess, understaffed. That's what this is about. Okay, they don't talk about that. Okay, they don't talk about that. And those costs are passed on to all the customers, okay, of an insurance company. So when they charge astronomical prices, my premium, your premium, everyone's premium is going up each year because of this. So, you know, I'm just going to say the dialysis clinics, they are denying it, that they're doing this, but they do use the American Kidney Fund to do this. This is all public information. You can look up the American Kidney Fund and how they come about. The American Kidney Fund, what they do, the American Kidney Fund, which is a charitable organization which helps to pay insurers premiums for dialysis patients, and which has received hundreds of millions of dollars in contribution from DaVita and Fresenius in recent years. Okay, in 2017, they talk about the Justice Department under President Barack Obama subpoenaed the companies and the Kidney Fund about the charitable insurance premium assistance. And just one more thing that I would like to say, and I'm going to pour them up as well, because I think patients who undergo kidney dialysis need to know this, and that is dialysis patient citizens. This is an organization that's in Washington, D.C., and they are strongly against Proposition 8. Okay, and they're supposed to be a dialysis patient organization. And let me just read to you. Let me just read to you their supporters. Now, a lot of their supporters are Fresenius, DaVita, um, American Renal, I believe it is, US Renal, Amogen. I just want to, okay, here you go. Our supporters. Their corporate supporters are American Renal, Amogen, Baxter, DaVita, Fresenius Medical Care, Genentech, Humacyte, CareX, Satellite Healthcare, and US Renal Care. So my point, dialysis patient citizens, the reason why they're against this, because if they weren't, they'll lose their funding from these organizations. And the big shocker, dialysis patient citizens are a offshoot of DaVita dialysis. I got to drop the mic. Dialysis patient citizens are a offshoot or a subsidiary or some way affiliated. You don't say it, but people in the industry know this. Okay, dialysis patient citizens are an extension from DaVita. So again, just wanted to put this information out there. Ran over the broadcast show, but I think this is important, very, very important, since the election is coming up on Tuesday. Again, I want to read you a message from Natasha Cooper, who is a representative of the SCIU. I have her number going across the banner. And what Natasha says to you warriors and also to you workers out there who are doing the job the best they can and may fall in conditions that are unfavorable, such as working understaffed, working short. uh, broken down machines, old machines, uh, just anything that puts you in a situation where you know as a healthcare worker it's unfavorable, or a patient that feels like their clinic is not stepping up to the plate. This message is for you from Natasha Cooper, representative of SEIU. The organizers behind the Yes on 8 campaign in California are building a movement. They're building a national movement to raise standards, okay? They want to raise standards in dialysis clinics and the industry across the country. We're looking to connect with workers, dialysis workers, and patients who want to publicly share their stories and what they want to see changed in their clinic industry. Her number is on the screen. I had it going throughout the program. I thank everyone for their support and that's watching. I can't say this enough. I really can't. Since I started dialysis in 1985, it has astronomically got out of control with diabetes, hypertension, medication, and other um, um, conditions that have caused kidney failure to be at extreme high right now. Clinics are proliferating or popping up at a record rate across this nation. In Southern California alone, there's a clinic literally, we're not exaggerating, literally on every corner. If you look at the stock markets, you see the stocks going up with these companies. Even billionaire Warren Buffett has gotten into this. CVS has got into this. Everybody sees what's happening and where this is going. Half of Californians are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Again, diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure. Blacks are at risk more than whites. They are affected at astronomical rates. Cities across the United States, urban cities, from Baltimore, New York, Houston, Florida, Louisiana, where my buddy Todd Smith is, Ain't Tough Warrior, Philadelphia, where Sherwood Woody is, Richmond, North Carolina, South Carolina, Atlanta. It's coming. Well, it's already here. The only way we're going to be able to deal with this problem is through awareness, education, and prevention. And that's what Urban Kidney Alliance is doing. But we need your help. We really need your help. We put together hashtag kidney disease, Urban America's Silent Killer Tour. It doesn't cost nothing for an organization to bring us there. We just need somewhere to come to spread the word. We need your help. If you can donate, donate. No amount is too small or large to help this ministry. So again, vote yes, Proposition 8 if you're in California. Support our cause, Urban Kidney Alliance. Tune in tomorrow for a special edition of Urban Kidney Alliance Media as we talk to Marvin Walker Jr. What's so special about Marvin? Well, him and his mom are kidney warriors and attend the same clinic. So tune in tomorrow to hear Marvin's story of how him and his mom is battling this disease from Baltimore, Maryland. That's tomorrow on a special edition of Urban Kidney Alliance Media at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, USA. Thank you for watching. God bless. Have a great day. Goodbye.